Okay, so we mentioned this before. So these are diseases of hard dental tissue, so tooth enamel hyperplasia. So it's basically breakdown of the tooth enamel and caries. Signs and treatment. So what the hell are caries? So these are sort of concave, dark pits. It's not the best picture in the tooth. Maybe I'll try and find a more realistic picture. Okay, yeah, it's a bit better. Okay, so just imagine it's like a black brown pit that allows for your explorer. So this is the probe that can poke inside, or an excavator to penetrate the tooth. And there are different classes. It's sort of summarized here, but I'll speak in more detail. So class 1 is what we call an occlusal lesion. These usually occur in the premolars and molars, I think just because they get dirtier. And what happens is you only have a pit or a fissure. So a fissure is a hole on the occlusal surface. Now, class 2, what you kind of get is, it includes class 1, so it's a pit or lesion in the premolar or molar, but it also spreads proximally, so it more downwards. And when it worsens, it becomes class 3. So you can see now it's actually in contact with the pulp. And number 4, class 4, is when it also includes the molars. The caries from the molars are also infecting the incisors. So these are the teeth towards the front. And class 5 is when literally all kinds of teeth are affected. So incisors, canines, premolars, and molars all have these occlusal lesions. So when I say occlusal lesion, it's literally the same thing as me saying caries. And number 6 is just like when it's really bad. So you'll see that all the caries on all the teeth are kind of penetrating the pulp. The dog is just in a very bad way. And yeah, when they reach the pulp, what can happen is you get pulpitis, of course, because, you know, inflammation of the pulp, and abscesses. And this can lead to periodontitis, especially if, you know, there's a lot of debris in the caries, because just imagine the dog is still continuing to eat, so the debris can still go inside the tooth. So how do we manage it? We can extract it, do a root canal therapy for pulpitis. So yeah, what was the root canal again? It's where you remove the entire pulp, disinfect the area, dry it, and then fill it, basically. Yes, so yeah, firstly, you don't just do that, but you also drill to remove just some caries lesions. And yeah, you fill the tooth with resin or restorative material like amalgam. You might, you know, hear more about it later on. Oh yeah, there's the treatment. So yeah, drill the tooth, fill the tooth. That's it. Okay. Enamel hyperplasia. Okay, there aren't any pictures here, so I think what I'll do, I'll try and find a tooth. Okay, let's pretend there are no caries here. So with enamel hyperplasia, basically the root has 3 layers, and these are almost shown here. So I'll try and, so the hard white layer on the outside is known as enamel, which is what we're talking about. The one on the inside, it should be slightly tan. This is known as dentin, and then you have the pulp inside. So the top smooth hard white layer, so enamel, breaks down in enamel hyperplasia. And what you will see is like a sort of band around the teeth. And what you get underneath is the exposure of the more yellow, more rougher dentin layer. And this tends to attract plaque because, you know, the tooth is of course rougher. So how do we manage this? Well, it's quite easy. You ultrasonically scale the tooth. Then you use a dentin sealant to basically possibly restore the tooth.